Welcome to the Happiness Minute. Our episode today is called Rebuilding Confidence in Men Following Divorce. I'm your host, Anna, and today we have a very special guest joining us to shed light on this topic. Our guest today is Florio. In this episode, we discuss how men can redefine resilience and regain confidence after a divorce. Learn about tips and valuable insights to help navigate this uncertain period and become stronger and more self confident. Hi, everyone, and we're back. And I have a very, very special friend today to discuss the topic. So her name is Florio. Hi, Anna.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you're listening to.
Yeah, it's been a while. So it's nice for you
Yes.
to come to my podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Okay, Anna, before we start, can you tell our listeners and our viewers what you do and about your business as well?
Sure. So I am an emotional support coach, which means anything that brings you turmoil and behaviors that you feel you're like self-sabotaging, or say you are in a happy relationship, but for some reason you always create chaos, anything like that, I'll help you with. I'm also a master and teacher of Sekem, which is
Ah,
ancient Egyptian healing.
okay.
I'm also a Reiki master. I do different healing modalities because I feel it's a bit like food. You need different things on different days. So not just one method. And also I'm a psychic. That means I can predict the future. And I use both the tarots and channeling. So channeling means my guides give me information and I just tell the person what it is. Now, to give you an idea how long I've been doing tarots, let me show you the box that the tarots came into, right? Look at the back,
Yeah, that's a
right?
long time.
That's a long time. I was 16 and my auntie, because I come from a family of psychic healers, medium, etc. My auntie gave me her own tarot cards. So these have been passed on to me, second generation that we're using these cards.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, Anna, today we are discussing about rebuilding confidence in men, specifically
Yes.
following a divorce or separation, and which is a topic that not many people tend to go into. So, there's a few things as well that you might give our listeners and our viewers some
Mm-hmm.
tips as well. But to start off with, I'm going to ask you a question. First of all, what motivated you to specialize in helping men?
Oh,
Um, in
because
terms of their
mhm.
yeah, in
I
terms
was
of like
already
after
working
divorce.
with women who came out
Okay.
of narcissistic relationships and toxic relationships. And what I've realized is that men needed the same type of help to navigate either the divorce or the separation. And at the beginning, I just thought, yeah, whatever. Then I went to look at the statistics and things. There's hardly any help for men at all.
Mm.
And if you look at the statistics in the UK, we're talking about 16 people commit suicide every
Wow.
day,
Wow.
and only 3 or 4 of them are women.
Oh, okay.
All the rest are men. But if we go back to basics, men are told, don't cry.
Mhm.
Men are told, be strong, do this, do that. It will pass. What we forget is that going through divorce or separation is very traumatic.
Mhm.
And they are generally the ones that lose their home, their favorite chair. They lose all the little things they used to do, say, with the children, for example. My first client of this many years ago now, he said to me, he was basically a workaholic. So he would leave in the morning at 6 and come back like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And he said, what I really miss, and he had 2 small daughters, what I really miss is coming home, opening the door of their bedroom, looking at them sleeping, wishing them good night and closing the door. And to me, that broke my heart because I thought, I never realized what men were going through. You just expect, find yourself another place to stay and get on with things and perform at work. How can you perform at work if your world is collapsing? See? So, and the other thing I noticed is that not for everybody, but for a lot of them, man to man, they tend to keep up the, I'm strong, everything is fine, and all that kind of thing. With me, I generally tell them things like, oh, come on, talk to Auntie Anna. What are you up to? What's going on? So it's an easy way to break the ice. And say, for example, me and you are married, and I'm the man that is leaving the house. I lose all the friends that belong to both of us, because generally friends decide on which side they're going to be. And if I talk to them, chances are there's going to be gossip and all sorts of things going on. So I cannot feel comfortable enough to just open up completely. Very often, the wife is the one that was the only person that they spoke to if they had something profoundly personal to talk about. So they lose the emotional support as well. Now, to be with a woman discussing things, it's easier in a way because the testosterone doesn't come up to play. But at the same time, to know that I'm a stranger to that family environment, that means I am not going to go. I wouldn't do it anyway, but I'm not going to go and talk to the wife. Do you know what he just said about you?
Yeah.
You see? So they can feel completely safe in talking about what's bothering them. So, for example, the person I told you about, he said to me, I know I shouldn't say it, but I feel that all she's doing is trying to take my money. And then what happened is that we worked on that because he was traveling abroad a lot. So we ended up seeing how important it was for the wife to be home and look after the girls. And she was an incredible mother, so that he would have the peace of mind to go around and do his job and create, big deals, because he was part of a big law firm. So he was going like Singapore and all these kind of places, creating new business. And I said to him, how would you have done that had you known that she wasn't a good mother, had you known that your children were in danger? That's when the penny dropped and he went, right, so she's not trying to take my money. She's taking what is hers as well. You see, because a lot is about reframing. And when you're hurt, you just see everything in the negative space.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that always move them is, if you were still at the beginning of your relationship and I told you you're splitting up, what would you give her? And they always say, I will give her everything. But they forgot what it felt to be in love with that person.
Yeah.
And also the problem is that very, very often, if they had any childhood issues, any childhood wounds, like I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, all those kind of things, they will come back with a vengeance when they're going through this, because the brain is trying to make sense of what's happening in their lives.
Yes.
So we need to work on the root cause of what's making them feel so bad. It's not a matter of, oh, never mind, in a few months you'll be fine. It's about, let's go deep. Because also, girls, let's remember, these are going to be the boyfriend and husbands of the next set of women.
Yeah.
So why not support them? And then we have beautiful relationships coming out of this.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. So, Anna, you mentioned something about stereotypes in terms of masculinity. So,
Yes.
how do societal expectations and stereotypes about masculinity impacts men's experiences post-divorce, and how do you address them in your work?
So the first problem is men pass on this idea that men don't cry and all that. It's not so much passed on by women, by mothers. It's more a masculine version of what a man is supposed to be. So what happens is that if you're surrounded by other men, that instead of saying, come on, you can cry, they just go, no, 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 don't do that. Let's go for a beer. Let's not talk about anything. Let's get drunk and let's go home. How can you then open up? Because there's a shame, there's a stigma about being sensitive, about having emotions, about especially bringing out these emotions. You see? So, and very often, think about it this way. A child, he does something wrong. Very, very often the mother will say, go away and think about it, which means that in the subconscious, the child will think, I cannot make mistakes. If I make mistakes, I will stop being loved and I will be pushed away. So it confirms even more that they are not allowed to be fully themselves.
Yeah.
You know, we are for girls as well, you know, the idea of the good girl, be nice, even if you know, hug the auntie that has got chin hair because you're a nice girl. I don't want to hug the auntie that has got mustache and stuff. But, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
see it all the time. Be nice, hug auntie. No, I don't want to hug auntie. You see? So we have it on both sides, but we're looking at men right now. So what happens is that it's passed on about if you cry, do it in secret, do it in private, don't do it, you know, outside everybody. But then how can we expect these men to be fully functioning emotionally when they are in a relationship? Because it's almost like we gave them a beautiful puzzle when they were born, and then we started taking pieces out. And then we get upset to say, well, but your puzzle should be full. Yeah, but you've taken away the pieces. What do you want me to do? You see? So there is a change in culture. But for example, I was on a podcast not long ago, and they are in India. And they were saying that in India, they're even worse than in Europe in
Yeah.
terms of men don't show emotion, men don't cry, you know, all those kind of things. So I feel that the important thing is we start to change completely the culture, because they used to be good for when we were at war. You cannot stay in the middle of the war field and cry your eyes out. But we're not at war now. We have much more complex relationships. We have a lot of isolation. You know, everybody's on computers, but not everybody meet up for coffee or something like that. So we need to create a different way of seeing things so that these men can have the support that they deserve. Because if a woman was in that situation, lost her children, lost the partner, lost the house, everybody would be rallying around. And I think it's generally, lots of people haven't even thought about the fact that these men are going to be left by themselves completely. Imagine, new flat, new room, whatever, nothing of what's familiar, still performance at work. And if you don't, you have to explain that actually my heart is broken. You see, it goes against everything that they've been taught before.
And also, it's because the expectations are still high,
Yes,
especially after the divorce. So, yeah.
yes, yes. But what it means also is that they will bring the same problems that they haven't looked into in the next relationship. And then we got the same problem over and over again because nobody fixed the roots.
So you help them, you help fix the roots of the problem then in terms of going into deeper what's causing it.
Yes, because very, very often what we're doing is, if I decided that I couldn't be loved when I was a child, I keep on looking for relationships that at the end will confirm me that I cannot be loved, for example, or that I'm not good enough, or whatever was the issue I had when I was a child. And the problem is that we don't even realize we're doing it. So these things keep on happening, and then they're taught to the new generations and all that kind of things. So the important thing is that we really need to do something about fixing these issues, because they are super important, and
Yeah.
we need to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of you mentioned something a while ago about uh safe spaces. So can you uh, tell us more about what a safe space means? So
Yes, is the
how
place.
yeah, and how it's important to have that.
Yes. Say, for example, you want to tell me something, but you know that you will be judged for it. You're not going to open up properly. You're not going to tell me what's going on with you. You will just give me a shorter version, very edited of what's
Mm,
going on,
mm,
right? But that means we will never go to the root of the problem, because it's the same that, and it happens with girls as well. They say, how are you? I'm fine. And then you're crying your eyes out before you go there.
Mm.
See? So the I'm fine it is a self-preservation thing.
Mhm.
But we need to help the people so that they don't need to get there, so that they can open up, so that they can really speak clearly, like the man I told you, I think she's taking all my money.
Yeah.
But he couldn't say that in front of her or in front of either family or anything like that.
So Anna, my next question for you is um, something in terms of, if you can give me like 3 or 5 strategies and tools that you use to help men cope with the emotional fallout of the separation and divorce. Do you have some of those tools?
Okay. The very first tool is whatever you feel is fine. There's no judgment. You shouldn't be thinking this. Well, if you do, let's see why you think it,
Mhm.
right? So no editing, no, you can say this, but you can't say that, because it doesn't work like that. The second part is, let's have a look at your deeper beliefs. So
Okay.
if you thought that you didn't belong because maybe in your family you were like the black sheep or anything like that, then obviously divorce or separation will bring back up. You see, I don't belong to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm out again. I'm alone again, right? So we go back to what caused it in the beginning, because very often it is not, sometimes it's a real issue, but sometimes it's how the child interpreted a certain situation.
Mm.
So I've known lots of people that had their parents, they had to go and work somewhere else. So they were left with grandparents or things like that, for example. They felt abandoned, but the parents never abandoned them. The parents went to earn money to give them a better life. But from a child's point of view, I want mom and dad here. Then I feel I will always be abandoned. So when then the wife or himself decide that the relationship is over, these issues will come back. So we need to look at, is it true? That's my typical thing. Is it true? Is it true that you're not lovable? Well, already, if you were married to someone, you must be lovable, because otherwise they wouldn't have
Mm.
married you in the first place, unless they're
Correct. Yeah.
completely crazy, right?
Could be a crazy woman, but no, I highly
Could
doubt
be a
that.
crazy woman, we got that possibility. But not necessarily. All it means is that you keep on looking for confirmation of your fears.
Mhm.
And then when you split up, you're like, oh my God, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. I will never be loved again. So we need to go back to the roots, back to seeing what are the things. Also, we need to look at, do you have a support system?
Mm. Yeah.
Who are your friends? Are your friends the one, macho man, everything is fine, and someone can cut off my arm, but oh, no big deal? Or do you have a group of
Yeah.
men that are around you and say, hey, I'm really sorry for what you've been through? At work, do you have the HR people, or if you're self-employed, do you have a way to cocoon yourself for a while? Because that's a huge, huge trauma.
Mm.
You see? So we look at who is there, who is in place to support you, who can you go to if you want to talk to, all that. And if it's not in place, we find a way to create it, because we all need a support system.
Yeah. You mentioned something about childhood experiences. So I'm actually thinking, like we always get, people sometimes tell us that, what you experience in childhood actually plays out sometimes in your adulthood. So do you
Mhm.
think like your childhood experiences and past traumas, if you're a man, play in your ability to cope with separation and divorce?
Very much so, because the deep belief is what make me move and make me take decisions.
Okay. Okay.
So If I think I'm not intelligent enough, I will make decisions that will confirm that I'm stupid. The fact that I'm not stupid doesn't mean anything. It's my subconscious that has decided this is the rule for us, right? So the person on the outside is what you need, like a mirror that shows you actually that is not. Can you see in the mirror? This is the situation. This is what you're looking like. This is what's going on, which is very different from what your head keeps on telling you. And so, and especially if you were the one that broke the rules and all that kind of things, it was even easier to feel excluded from the tribe.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually thinking as well, like, like within separation and divorces, there are certain unspoken expectations,
Yes.
especially for men. Um, do you think, like in terms of that, that's why it's easy, it's good to actually look into the deeper aspect. Do you think so?
Yes. So we're generalizing now. We're not doing
Yeah,
one
yeah.
by one. But think about it. Certain things are expected, sorry, of a man. Like you take the rubbish out, or you take the car to the mechanic so he will not try to sell you things that you don't need and stuff like that. There are the unspoken rules that are created at the very beginning of the relationship. So if I'm expecting him to take the rubbish out, but I keep on getting frustrated and taking it out myself, he will expect me to take the rubbish out.
Yeah.
Right? And the unspoken expectations are the one that really undermine the relationship. Because we got a big elephant in the room, nobody's talking about it. Right? So we need to go and look into what's your idea of masculinity and what's your idea of femininity, right? I come from a mom, for example. I always laugh and I say, you could have been a man because she does like electricity things and
Yes, yeah.
she's very strong and she does also things that you don't necessarily expect from the traditional woman, right? But just as much, there are some fathers that are much more hands-on than the mothers themselves. So it's a single person type of issue. But there are some general ideas, like if the man doesn't earn enough money and the woman earns more money, there is always a clash because subconsciously people expect the man to earn more. So chances are he will get frustrated because he's not earning as much to get his masculinity officially recognized. And he might get upset with her if she's earning more. You see? But these are unspoken things. So all of a sudden she's saying, I don't know, I'm just buying the sofa for the house, and it just goes off into a major tantrum. I'm like, but why? I'm just buying something for both of us. But the problem is he feels he should be the provider. You see? And obviously, depending which country you come from, which culture you come from, you've got different rules.
Yes.
So it's important that we look at these things because next time, because there's always a next relationship. It's very rare that
Yeah.
someone will ever be in one. Next time, if you are aware of what triggers you, if you are aware of what upsets you, of your expectations, or what you think a man should be, it will be much easier to negotiate with the next person that you are with what you want, because before you didn't know what you wanted. You just kept on doing it in automatic pilot, but you never sat down and thought, why am I doing this?
Yeah. I'm actually thinking as well. I know this will be controversial, and I don't know if you have actually done work with people in
Mhm.
same-sex relationships. So are they the same in terms of how they would approach the divorce for men in
Normally
same-sex
in
relationships?
relationship, there is always a more masculine person and a more feminine person, regardless their gender. Um, like one of the couples that I've been working with recently, one of them was basically like a housewife style
Okay.
of approach. But he was also working, he does this incredible work. He creates the clothes designs the clothes for the characters in video games.
Okay.
Right? Fascinating. The other half of the couple, he goes to work and he comes back and bring things, etc., etc. So in a way, they recreate some kind of balance. But even in heterosexual couples, very often, like I know of one particular one that she is super masculine and he takes more the feminine role. But they are heterosexual. So as I said, everything depends from the couple itself.
Okay, very interesting. Sorry to throw that
No,
question
no,
in
fine.
because I thought it would be like here in Europe we do have that, like married couples doesn't mean men and
Absolutely.
women as well. So I thought like it could be the societal pressures can be different as well for same sex
Yes.
couples.
Yes.
So they have unique pressures and expectations with them as well. So yeah.
Yes. And also there's all the extra pressure if they want to have children, they
Yeah.
need to find, a surrogate mother or someone that is happy to have children with them, and then they will keep the babies. So it's more complex in that way.
Yeah. So do you help these types of couples as well?
Yes,
Or
not very often, but I do.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
So one of my last questions is, can you describe more how you can help men rebuild their confidence and self-esteem after their divorce?
Okay. So generally, when they come to me, they've been in that situation for a while. Probably the divorce has not gone through
Okay.
yet, but they've gone from oh yeah, I can do it, no big deal, a couple of months and I'll be fine,
Mm.
to actually, this is not as fine as I thought it could be.
Mhm.
I can see is impacting my work life and all that kind of stuff. So they come, but they feel embarrassed about coming because there's not a traditional way. Of course, there are men that do come and they're super happy to do it straight away. But some others, they're a bit more coming and going like, can you convince me that this is a good thing for me? Right? And the way I see it is, if you are by yourself and you have repetitive thoughts, you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling anger. There's a lot of anger, which is a sign of pain. You have these emotions that make it difficult for you to have your day-to-day life. In the same way that if you twisted your ankle, you will go to your doctor and see what you can do, whether it's tablets, whether you got to strap my ankle, it doesn't matter. But there's still a kind of a bad reputation about going to see a coach or a psychiatrist or a psychologist or anything like that. So the moment they can manage to jump this hurdle, then they will realize that it's so much easier to have someone else looking from the outside in and noticing certain things that they do. Because very often they don't.
They don't, yeah, because
See?
you're they could be too focused on it, and they don't really
Yes.
see other things besides
Yes, exactly.
the separation and divorce. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, there are some hard truths that we have to look at that are not particularly pretty. Because the important thing is responsibility, ability to respond. So we're not talking blame, we're not talking pointing fingers, all that kind of thing. No, we're talking about, I've done this. Let me see the causes behind that make me do that.
Mm.
And then let me see how I can change things so that my life will be smoother, so that it will be easier for me to live with myself. Because this is not an exercise for someone else, it's for yourself.
Mm.
Because also, very often, when the person that they were when they started the relationship is very different from the one that they are now. But if they haven't had the opportunity to look into it, they still behave in the way that would satisfy their previous version. And so there is frustration because then they don't get the results that they want, but they haven't realized that it's because they're looking for the wrong things.
Correct. Yeah. They're too focused on something, but it's actually the problem is different at the end of the day.
Yes. And as you know, men love to fix things straight away.
Mm.
Well, sometimes they need to take a step back and go, okay, what is it that is not working?
Mm.
And what can we do in order for things to, to be easier for myself? Because the pain will pass. But it's a bit like if you broke your leg and didn't fix it properly, you'll keep on having a problem with that leg.
Yeah, it would still be crooked.
Yeah, that means you will have problem walking, you will have problem
Yeah.
with pain or whatever, weather change, and then you
Mhm.
feel your leg being painful. So why not? The earlier we intervene, the better it is, because the emotions are still very present, very hot. See? It's like if you had a relationship and then 10 years later I say, oh, how did you feel? You really have to go and dig and think, let me think how it was. But if your relationship finished 4 months ago, 5 months ago, you know exactly how it feels because you're still going through it. And it's normal to go through it. So it's about making it normal to fix your leg rather than go and be a strong man and have a crooked leg.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So Anna, my very last question is, I know you've written a book. So
Yes.
can you tell me the title of the book and when it's going to be available to purchase?
Okay. The title is called Phoenix Rising, the book on how to recover and thrive after narcissistic relationships.
Oh, okay.
Because there are a
Yes.
lot of female
Yeah.
narcissists as well. So
Oh,
men go
yeah.
through
Yeah,
that too.
definitely.
And the book is going to be published in October.
Yeah.
You can pre-order it on my website, annaflorio.com, if you want to. And it's literally about because I used to be in toxic relationships a lot. So I learned quite many things. And my last toxic relationship was about 10 years ago. So then I started really researching and finding what are the ways so that we don't fall for the same things again. And this is for men and women. Certain times we want the bad girl. Well, bad girl comes with certain problems,
Yeah.
right? But go and look, why do you want the bad girl? What's going on? What make you think the first time that you wanted the bad girl? So my book will come in October this year, 2024.
Looking
I'm
forward to it.
really
I've got a
excited.
long list of books to read, honestly. But I do read them, you know.
Well, hurry up to read the others, and then by October you get space for my one.
Yeah, will do. So Anna, thank you very much for today. Any last tip for our viewers and listeners?
The men do cry, and actually, that's one of the most touching and beautiful things that as men and women we can witness, we can hold space, and you won't have to cry forever.
Yeah, everything will be all right in the end.
In the end, yes, but we need to work on it.
Mhm. Yes. So thank you very much, Anna. So
Thank you
everyone,
so much.
eh, everyone, see you again. Do like, subscribe, share this episode, and see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye bye.